So another place that we went for a bit of an adventure was we went over to the Robertson Rainforest, or the Robertson Nature Reserve, they call it. We were on our way to catch up with some friends. We'll talk about that in a minute. But first of all, we popped into the Robertson Nature Reserve, which is a little patch of Roberson Rainforest out the back of Robbo. And it's a delightful little spot, Lou.
Yeah, it is. It's really sort of strange because we have so little real rainforest. And we were walking there just putting on what we thought would be, we had maybe, half an hour or something. And we walked about less than 100 meters before we said, oh, God, we better go back.
Yes.
It's so beautiful. It's so ethereal, I suppose, with all those lianas looping around, the darkness, the coolness, the ferns, and there's fungi.
Fungi, yes. Yeah. We'll talk a bit about fungi in a minute. There is so much to see in there. If you haven't been to the Robertson Rainforest, it's just a 500-metre track. And it's apparently wheelchair friendly. I think I wasn't thinking about that as I was doing it, but I think it probably is. The first
might be
100
a little
metres
bumpy.
we did. And we were a little bit tantalised because we could see lots of butterflies right up in the canopy, and we couldn't get our binos onto them. They were too far away. But it's a lovely little spot.
No. I just remembered. Didn't we see Maclay?
Oh,
Yes, swallowtails.
Yes,
my fave.
Right up high.
Yeah, really up high, a flowering. I don't know whether it was a tree or whether it was a climber, but it was in full flower, and it wasn't one Maclay. There were like a heap of them.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I did a little bit of research subsequently and learnt that the area there is a remnant of what was called Yarrawa brush. And that prior to European settlement, it covered approximately 2,500 hectares around that Robertson area, including the township. But we have cleared that area over time, and now there are only little remnant patches. There's the one that we went to, and there's another one that we went to a little while later out the back of this Robertson cemetery. And there are patches now on private land. But the Robertson Environment Protection Society, REPS, is working toward maintaining the rainforest areas that are out there, but also enhancing them and increasing them. And they're doing a fantastic job.
They are an amazingly active group, aren't they?
They are. So they're doing all kinds of things. They do propagation of the rainforest plants in that area. They give advice to locals about the local plants and what are good to put in. They do weeding and education about what plants are weeds and what are rainforest plants. They do seed swapping. And they do work with a group that they've created called the Young Reps. But actually, I think we'll talk about that in a tick. But first, we should go back to one or two things in the rainforest section. Oh, I know what I wanted to mention. We were bemused as we were walking through the...
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
This is a real
something
surprise.
That was a mystery to both of us. Lou, do you want to talk about that?
Well, it was sort of at the side of the track on both sides, quite a lot of it. And it sort of looked like poo. But it didn't really look like poo. I mean, it was a bit squarish, a bit crumbly, and far too much of it. It would have been a host of poos.
Yes.
And we could not understand what it was. And later, we were able to discover from
Our local poo expert.
our local reps expert. She
Fiona,
told us what it
yeah.
was. Do you want to tell?
I think you can. You got right into it.
I did. Well, it was a revelation. We were informed it was a worm, but not any old worm.
But what we were seeing was the worm poo.
No,
That was the actual worm.
no,
All right, explain, please.
it was the soil and debris from dead branches and trees that have been pushed up by the worm when he came up, or she came up at night, I believe.
Yes.
And these are the giant Robertson Rainforest worm.
Right.
So, and it is like, it can be a metre long.
Yes, I've seen
And
photos.
fat.
So you're saying that the piles we saw are pushed up as it comes up
That's
to the
what
surface.
I assumed. Maybe we should.
Ooh, we might check with Fiona again before we publish this. I did do some further research on the Robertson giant earthworm, and there's not much information out there on Google. So if any of our listeners can tell us a whole lot more, and especially if they can supply us with some photos, can you contact us?
Of the worm, not the poo.
Yeah, we've got plenty of
pics
photos,
of the poo,
which is not poo.